Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Vanchakalpatarvyascha कृपा सिन्धुभैश्च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नमाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। हरे कृष्णा, प्लीज accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Shri Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. This is Shamarasika Devidasi from Germantown, Maryland. Please forgive me for stopping your ecstatic chanting. May I know who's there in the call? I welcome all the devotees on the early morning call today. May I know who's there in the call today?
Hare Krishna Mataji, then Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. This is Pooja from Sydney.
Hare Krishna, Puja Mataji, Dhanvat Pranam, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you so much for joining. And today's spiritual quote for holy name is
Hare Krishna. Please accept my obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. This is Nikunja Rasadas from Germantown, Maryland.
Hare Krishna, Nikunja Ras Prabhu, Dhanvat Pranam, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you so much for joining. And today's spiritual quote for holy name is even the very sound of the holy name of the Lord Krishna or Rama can at once surcharge the atmosphere spiritually. By Srila Prabhupada. From Srimad Bhagvatam. Please continue.
Hare
Sorry.
Krishna Mataji, Madhanat Pranam to you and all the devotees on the call. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. This is Rupini Padma Devidasi from Orlando, Florida.
Hare Krishna, Rupini Padma Mataji, Dhanvat Pranam, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you so much for joining.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dhanvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Manidhar Das.
Hare Krishna, Manidhar Prabhu, Dhanvat Pranam, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you so much for joining.
Hare Krishna, Shamrasa Mataji, Dhanvat Pranam. This is Vrindavan Vijay Das from York, Pennsylvania. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna, Vrindavan Vijay Prabhu, Dhanvat Pranam, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you so much for joining. And welcome to the call. So,
thank you.
Welcome, Prabhu. So, Prabhuji, Manidhar Prabhu, would you like to start the recording?
Yeah, Mataji, I have already started.
Okay.
All right. Let me know, Prabhu, when to start. Yeah.
Yes, Prabhuji, you can start. It's already been streamed. Yeah.
Okay. Om Agyan Timrandasya Jnananjan Shalakya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devai Gaurumani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Desha Tarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gauru Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavad Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtaki Sranvatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Sravan Kirtana Hridyantasto hi abhadrani vidhunoti suhritsatam Krishnaya Vasudevaya Deviki Nandanaya cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Govindaya Namo Namaha Govindaya Namo Namaha. So today we are reading from Canto 6, Chapter 11, verse 13 onwards. So I'll read the verse and the translation. Satam Nipendra Kamyaya Ripum Vajrayudham Bhratraharam Vilokya Smaram Chatat Karmanashan Shamaha Shoken Mohin Hasan Jagad. So, translation by Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. O king, when the great hero Vritrasura saw Indra, his enemy, the killer of his brother, standing before him with a thunderbolt in his hand, desiring to fight, Vritrasura remembered how Indra had cruelly killed his brother. Thinking of Indra's sinful activities, he became mad with lamentation and forgetfulness. Laughing sarcastically, he spoke as follows. So we'll continue till we find a sloka with purport. Sri Vritravacha Dishtya Bhavan me samvastito ripu Yo brahma guru ha bhratraha cha Dishtya nirunodyaham asattam tvaya Masul nirbhin drashad dhradachirat. Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Sri Vritrasura said, he who has killed a Brahman, he who has killed this is a spiritual master. Indeed, he who has killed my brother is now by good fortune standing before me face to face as my enemy. O most abominable one, when I pierce your stone-like heart with my trident, I shall be freed from death to my brother. So this is, so we'll probably we can read the verses as we continue. So this is chapter 11 of 6th canto, which is named as Transcendental Qualities of Vritrasura. So in the previous verses, we saw that how the Vritrasura fought with the demigods till the verse 12th. The Vritrasura did not hit Indra again with the club. So there was we saw that how this Indra hit Vritrasura or threw the club towards Vritrasura. He attacked Vritrasura with the club, but Vritrasura is very easily with his left hand, he caught hold of the club and threw it back on the Indra, which hit the Aravat's head. And Aravat was bleeding and he fell on the ground. And along with that, Indra also fell on the ground. So then Indra touched the Aravat because Indra's hand is known as Amrit Vahini. Amrit Vahini. He touched the hand, he touched the Aravat, and Aravat was relieved of its pain. So Indra was completely in that situation, and then Vritrasur, he did not attack him again. He would have attacked Indra when Indra was getting ready to fight again. Indra was completely shattered. He fell down on the ground. He did not have his carrier Aravat ready. So, but Vritrasur, following the religious principles and the code of conduct in war, he did wait for Indra to get ready to fight. So in these verses, from 13 to 17th, is the next section of this chapter. In the previous section, how the Vritrasur was fighting with the demigods, with Indra and his army. And now in these verses, starting 13th, he started chastising Indra. So that is this verse is starting here in 13th. He's saying that that you are the killer of my brother, and you are standing before him with Indra was standing before. He fell down and then he got up and he stood before Vritrasur. Indra was completely he was completely he lost hope. Like, no, he did not know what to do, how to counter this Vritrasura. Although he had that Vajra with him, that Vajra which was made out of the bones of Dadichi Muni, at the advice of Lord Vishnu himself, but he did not use that. He used his own weapon, his own club or gada. He used his own weapon, and then he did not know how to counter. Vritrasura, he was standing bewildered, and he lost hope. So Vritrasura Vritrasura is remembering how he is this guy, how this Indra had killed his brother, and he was thinking about Indra's sinful activities, and then he was laughing sarcastically, and then he spoke the next verse 14. Laughing sarcastically when someone is really angry. When someone is really angry and is pained with emotion, then he starts like laughing, and that's called sarcastic laughing. In 14th, he's saying, the Vritrasura, he who has killed a Brahmana. He says, Vritrasura is saying, it's a Sri Vritra Vacha. So interestingly, the Shukdev Goswami is using the word Sri for Vritrasur. Although Vritrasur is a demon here, and so why Shukdev Goswami is using Shri as Vritrasur is because Vritrasur is filled with opulence of the Lord. We'll see later in this chapter that how when the Vritrasur starts praying to the Lord, and he starts praying to the Lord, and he tells like what his desire is, how he desires. The last verse of this chapter is how he desired to get the association of the devotees, the pure devotees of the Lord. So we'll know that he is a devotee of the Lord. So that's why the Shukdev Goswami, knowing this, he's using the word Shri Vritra, Shri who's he's full of all the opulence of the Lord. So in this, he's saying that I will kill you, and if I kill you, you have killed my brother, And not only that, he was my brother, he was your spiritual master. You have killed your spiritual master, who was my brother. So, and you are standing before me now. So when I pierce your stone-like heart with my trident, so when I kill you, when I pierce your heart with my trishul or trident, I shall be freed from my debt to my brother. Because Vritrashura is born to take revenge of the killing of his brother by Indra. So verse 15, there's no purport here too, so we'll go to verse 15. Yo no grajasyatmavido dujater guror apapas chadikchitasya vishramya khadge nishramsya avraschat pashvoriva karunah swarg kamaha. The only translation, only for the sake of living in the heavenly planets. You killed my elder brother, a self-realized, sinless, qualified Brahmana who had been appointed your chief priest. He was your spiritual master, but although you entrusted him with the performance of your sacrifice, you later mercilessly severed his heads from his body the way one butchers an animal. He is saying Indra is that you have killed my brother mercilessly. You yourself appointed him as your chief priest. He did not go to you. You came to him and you appointed him as a chief priest. So that is the word Dikshitatsya is used here. He was your spiritual master because you appointed him as your priest. And not only that, he was a self-realized, sinless, qualified Brahmana. So you have incurred a great sinful act. So this is, he was helping you to perform your sacrifice. So your word is important here. It was not my sacrifice, it was not his sacrifice, it was your sacrifice. And then even after that, you killed him. And why you killed him? This verse, Shukdev Goswami is using the word Swarg Kamaha. And how you have killed him? Pasho iva. Pashu is animal. Like an animal is butchered by his master for his own sense gratification. That is same thing you did with my brother. You killed him for your own sense gratification. And what is the sense gratification of Indra here? Swarg Kamaha. He wanted to have his rule back in Swarga, like back in Swarga. He wanted to, he was very, very attached to his position in Swarga. His position, he was desiring the heavenly planets like now. And that is why he killed. So he killed to enjoy the heavenly planets like. So, he says it's not only that, he was dependent on you, and then you butchered him. We'll go to verse 16. Sri Hri Daya Kirtibhir Ujjitam Tvam Swakarmana Purusadhaischa Gariham Kratsrena Matsula Vibhinna Deham Asprasta Vahinim Samadanti Gradra. This translation, the Indra, you are bereft of all shame, mercy, glory, and good fortune. Deprived of these qualities by the reactions of your fruitive activities, you are to be condemned even by the man-eaters, Rakshasas. Now I shall pierce your body with my trident, and after you die with great pain, even fire will not touch you, only the vultures will eat your body. So he is saying these four things is in this verse which are important, that Indra, you are bereft of all shame, mercy, glory, and good fortune. So the kind of act you have performed, kind of sinful act you have incurred, you have been bereft, you are bereft with all the shame. Shame is lajja or sham. Shame is shame, mercy, glory, and good fortune. They have left you. The moment someone performs such a sinful act, all these four things they left him. They leave him like shame, mercy, glory, and good fortune. And he says that now the kind of act you have done, you are condemnable. You're condemnable even by the Rakshasas. What to say about the Devatas and the other human beings? But you are even condemned by the lowest of the human being, lowest of the mankind, which is Rakshasas. You are even condemnable act by even by them. So this is when you die, when I kill you, when you die, even the fire will not touch you. He said fire is will become impure by touching your body. Therefore, even fire is not going to touch you. Your only destination will be that all these vultures and jackal and the animals, they will eat your body. That is the destination. Because this body, in Ajamil's pastime, it is said we have three destinations for this body: Krami, Vid, Bhasma, Sangita. Kram, Vid, Bhasma. Either if we are buried in the body buried in the ground, and all these worms, they eat the body. So Krami, and they become the kram vid is like stool of those worms, like no, the body converts, like they eat worms, eat them, and it becomes the stool of those worms, or it's eaten by the animals like cheel, gidd, all those jackals or dogs, like they eat the dead bodies. So krami, vid, or it becomes the stool of those animals, or bhasma, or if it is burnt, then it becomes the ash, bhasma. Bhasma means ashes, like it convert to ashes. So those are the three destinations of the body. But in your case, you are going to get the lowest kind of. You are not even the fire is not going to touch you. Asprasth vahinim. Asprasth vahinim means the fire is not going to touch you. Only the vultures and animals, they are going to eat your body. So next verse, 6:17. Annenu ye tve nrisham samagya yadutata yad udyasastraha praharanti mahiyam tairbhutnathan sagala nishat Trishul nirbhin galair yajami. Translation: you are naturally cruel. He's saying you are naturally cruel. If the other demigods, unaware of my prowess, follow you by attacking me with ranged weapons, I shall sever their heads with this sharp trident. With those heads, I shall perform a sacrifice to Bhairava and the other leaders of the ghost along with their hordes. So he's saying you are this cruelty. This is this cruel act. That this is not this you have done this the first time. There are many past incidences when you have behaved in the same way. So this cruelty, this cruel behavior, this cruelty has not come to you now. You are naturally cruel. By default, you're cruel. That is your second nature. And when he's saying that, the Vritrashura is remembering the past incident, the past sinful act, or what Indra has performed. So, verse 18. Atho hare me kulishen veera Harta pramathyaeva shiro yadiha tatra narado bhut balim vidhaya manasvinam padraja prapatse. So, translation. But if in this battle you cut off my head with your thunderbolt and kill my soldiers, O Indra, O great hero, I shall take great pleasure in offering my body to other living entities, such as jackals and vultures. I shall thus be relieved of my obligations to the reactions of my karma, and my fortune will be to receive the dust from the lotus feet of great devotees like Narad Muni. Purport by Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Sri Narottam Das Thakur sings, E Chaya Gosai Yara Muitar Das Tan Sabar Padarenu More Panch Gras. I'm the servant of the 6 Goswamis, and the dust of their lotus feet provides my 5 kinds of food. A Vaishnava always desires the dust of the lotus feet of previous acharyas and Vaishnavas. Vritrasur was certain that he would be killed in the battle with Indra because this was the desire of Lord Vishnu. So Vritrasur knows that he is going to be killed. So this is important to note here that Vritrasur knew that he is going to be killed because it wasn't desire of Lord Vishnu. And Vritrasur Vijay, devotees, he knows that anything desire of Lord Vishnu is going to happen. He was prepared. He was prepared. Prabhupada is writing that he was prepared for death because he knew that after his death, he was destined to return home back to Godhead. This is a great destination and it is achieved by the grace of Vaishnava. Chadiya Vaishnava Seva Nistar Paiche Keva. No one has ever gone back to Godhead without being favored by a Vaishnava. In this verse, therefore, we find the words Manasvinam Pad Raja Prapatse. I shall receive the dust of the lotus feet of great devotees. The word Manasvinam refers to great devotees who always think of Krishna. They're always peaceful, thinking of Krishna, and therefore they are called Dhira. The best example of such a devotee is Narad Muni. If one receives the dust of lotus feet of a Manasvi, a great devotee, he certainly returns home back to Godhead. So this verse is a nice verse, and what Pratrasur is saying here, he's saying now, if you see his from this verse onward, this verse is also connecting these 2 sections. From 13 to 17, he was chastising Indra, and he was very angry. He was chastising Indra. He was remembering what Indra did, and he was also remembering that how he beheaded his brother like now. And but now his focus changes from Indra to his core feelings, to his internal feelings. So this is connecting these 2 sections, so that another next section is starting from this verse. It says, Atho hare me kulichen vira. So it says, Atho means but. If I am killed, if you kill me using your thunderbolt in this battle, then he's prepared. So that is why Prabhupada is writing that he's prepared for death. He has come prepared. He has planned to leave his body in this war. He knows that it's a desire of Lord Vishnu. So I'm going to lose my body. I'm going to die. But he's not trying to save himself. He's not trying to save. He's prepared to die. He wants to leave his body. That is what this verse is saying, that he wants to leave his body. And he has a plan in the mind. He has a purpose of leaving his body so that he can go back to Godhead. So this is, so now he, in this verse, he settles down, he calms down, he's angry, but he's still like, calms down, he stops chastising Indra, and he says his mood changes. His mood changes. So even if you kill me, you have this thunderbolt made of the bones of the Dadichi Muni and blessed by Lord Vishnu. So even if you kill me using that, what will happen? My body will be useful. My huge body will be useful to satisfy the hunger of vultures and jackals, like to help them. So he's still thinking. And then he says, I shall be relieved of my obligations to the reactions of my karma. He says, because with my body, with my body gone, my karma will also be gone. My karma will also be gone, because I am, once I leave my body, I'll attain. And third thing he's saying, I will attain dust of the lotus feet of the great devotees, Manaswinam. So great devotees like Narad Muni, or my guru like Narad Muni, and Parvat Muni. So in his previous life at Chitraketu Maharaj, he received the instructions from Narad Muni and Parvat Muni. So they are considered, they are his gurus. So he has come to the battlefield with a mindset to die, and he prepared. So this is, and he's saying that received, this is where Manaswinam Pad Raja Prapatse. Once I leave my body, I'll receive, my fortune will receive the dust from the lotus feet of great devotees like Narad Muni, who so it's and Prabhupada is writing, it's not possible to go back to Godhead without the help, without the favor, without the mercy of Vaishnava, and especially your Guru. So he said, I'll receive the mercy of my Guru and will go back to Godhead. And Prabhupada, there's one important, very strong sentence Prabhupada writes in the purport, that no one has ever gone back without mercy of Guru and Vaishnava. So this sixth canto of Bhagvatam is there are 10 topics in Srimad Bhagavatam, and out of this Atra Sargo Visargo Cha Ithanam Poshnam Utiya Manvantari Shanukata Nirodha Muktashraya. So this is Poshanam. So this is sixth canto comes under the topic of Poshan, how the Lord maintains and nourishes his devotees. You'll see this sixth canto is full of errors, mistakes, and how the Lord mercifully allows the rectification of those mistakes. We have seen, it has the story of Ajamil, Chitraketu, Diti, and Indra, and all incurred some mistakes which was rectified by the causeless mercy of the Lord. So now Vritrasur enters the battlefield, and we'll discuss how his mood of fight and destination he achieves. So we have the Vritrasur here. He said he is a hero. So Vritrasur is a hero, but he's a non-stereotype hero. Like it does not match our conception of the hero, what we have, our stereotype hero conception. So for Vritrasur, if we have to understand Vritrasur, we have to understand with what he speaks, not how he looks, not from his externals, but what he speaks and what is the purpose he has fixed, or what is the purpose he has planned or desired or fixed for himself after leaving the body. So this is so when we hear, like this is a hearing, that's why hearing is very important. Like this is where if to know someone, we should not we should hear from him, so when we should hear And when we hear, then we can know about that person. Pibantiye bhagavat atmana satam kathamritam sraman puteshu sambhratam punanti te vishay vidushitashayam vrajanti taccharan saror vuhantikam. So Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, has this nice verse. And it says, those who drink through oral reception, those who hear from using their ears, the fully filled the message of Lord Krishna from Srimad Bhagavatam, from scriptures, from the message of Lord Krishna, what happens to them? Punanti. Punanti means they purify. They purify. Punanti te vishay vidushitashayam. So they purify vishay vidushitashayam. Vishay vidushit means especially the very polluted punantite vishay vishuddhyat ashayam, their goal of life. Ashayam is the goal of life. The goal of life, if it is material enjoyment, it's called vishay vidushit ashayam. That goal is highly polluted, extremely polluted. Not only dushit, it's vidushit. Vidushit is very highly polluted. And when we hear this message from scriptures, from devotees, from the message of Krishna, then what happens? Punanti, we get purified. Our heart is purified. And then our goal of life changes from material enjoyment to the lotus feet of the Lord. So that is, and we see that the pastime of Dhruva Maharaj. In the pastime of here, in this pastime, what's happening? Indra is doing what he is doing to get back the throne of ruler of the Swarga or heavenly planets. So to get back his position, to get back his opulence, that is what is here. He has come here to fight. So he has Swarga Kama. Swarga, he is desiring to for material sense gratification, material pleasure, material opulence, and that is why he's come to fight with Vritrasura here. So this is and this is like polluted goal. This is Vishay Vidushit Ashayam. That is the Indra's goal is material enjoyment, Swarga Kama. That is in this verse in Bhagavatam verse, it is saying that Vishay Vidushit Ashayam. His Ashayam, his goal is Vishay Vidushit. He is contaminated with the material sense desire for material enjoyment. And what happens, whenever you have, we see the same thing happens, which in the pastime of Dhruva Maharaj. In the Dhruva Maharaj pastime, Dhruva Maharaj, he wanted to take revenge of that incident of being insulted by his stepmother, Suniti or Suruchi. So he meets Narad Muni and he goes back to the forest. He meets Narad Muni, and he goes back to forest and he's able to get the darshan of the Lord in 6 months. But he had a material desire to go, and with that strong material desire, he did that tapasya for 6 months and he pleased the Lord, and Lord appeared before him. When the Lord appeared before him, then he realized that what desire he had. All his material desires were completely, by the darshan of the Lord, were completely crushed. So here, in this Bhagavatam 4th canto, 9th chapter, in Dhruva Maharaj pastimes, there's a conversation between Maitre Muni and Vidur Maharaj. So Vidur Maharaj and Maitre Muni. Vidurji is asking this question from Maitre Muni, why the Dhruva was not satisfied even after having the darshan of the Lord face to face. Even after getting that success to pleasing the Lord, even in this lifetime, he had this, that he pleased the Lord and he had the darshan of the Lord. but still he was not satisfied. So Vidur ji is saying that despite having achieved the desired result of his determination by worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord, Dhruva Maharaj was not very pleased. Thus he returned to his home. He was not satisfied. He was not happy. And Maitreya Muni explains. He explains that ultimately in next 3-4 verses, he explains that as long because Dhruva did not ask for the right thing. When he had the darshan of the Lord, when the Lord appeared before him, he did not ask for the right thing. He asked for his material desire. He had that strong material desires which he wanted to be fulfilled because he did not ask for the right thing. That's why he was not satisfied. So this is, well, when we have like same thing we see as long we have the realistic goal of life, that will always give us dissatisfaction. That's the nature of the material desires. That is the nature of material goals of life. So this is, we also see like to some extent, you can also relate it with that Srimad Bhagvatam first canto, when Vyas Muni, he was not satisfied even writing all the scriptures. He was dissatisfied because he had only explained the dharma, artha and kama and moksha. All those scriptures are Tragunna Vishaya Veda. Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, Tragunna Vishaya Veda, the most of this Vedic literature he wrote by that time, the Vyas Muni was based on Dharma, Artha, Kam, and Moksha. Then Narad Muni tells him like that we not glorified the Lord. You have not talked about the pure love of God, and that's why you are not satisfied. Then he writes Srimad Bhagvatam, and he becomes completely satisfied. As long as we have material goal of life, we will always be dissatisfied. That is the nature, that's a byproduct of material desires. You can be anybody and everybody, it doesn't matter. If Dhruva, even after having the darshan of the Lord, he was not satisfied, he was not happy, he was not pleased. So this is the point which is being made here also. Indra will never be satisfied because Indra is Swarga Kama. He went to Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu advised him to go to Dadichi, and Vishwakarma made the Brahmas out of bones of Dadichi. Oh, but still this Indra had this material desire. So it is said that someone with having the material desire, he will never be satisfied. That's a byproduct of material desires. Like in the verse 5 also, like same point, Vritrasura was saying that if you are a hero, he's telling Indra, if you are a hero and if you have patience and if you have no material desires, if you have no material ambition, no ambition for material sense gratification or material enjoyment, then wait, I'll come and kill you. See, he was saying that you're attached to your material desire. You're attached to your position in the Swargaloka. You're attached to like your opulence of Swargaloka, heavenly planet. And that is why you have come here to fight with me. And the patience and your material sense gratification. So, they are both interrelated. They are related. If you have more the attachment one has with his sense and for sense enjoyment, more the attachment one has with his possessions, his family, his whatever, his person, situations, circumstances, all the more attachment we have, more material attachment we have, less patience we'll have. Less patience will we have. It's like a child. If a child has a toy, more attached he is with the toy, more upset, more unhappy, more he'll be when the toy is taken away from him. Like no. So this is, if he's not attached, he doesn't care. He doesn't care. He will So there's if one is not attached, then he'll have a lot of patience. If it's more we are attached to material sense gratification, less patience we will have. So this is, and we see that in our the sadhaka Indra, because Indra was so much attached to his sense gratification, so much attached to getting back his throne back, getting back his position, that he forgot to use Vajra. You see, he was he had that anxiety. He had no patience. When he saw that how the Vritrasur is trampling all the demigods under his feet while he is walking in the battlefield. And when Indra saw that, he saw that how his goal is slipping out of his hand So he was out of his anxiety, he had no patience. Because of his strong attachment to his goal, he had no patience. So he had the Vajra with him. And Lord had advised him to use Vajra to kill Vritrasur. But he still was dependent on his own strength. And he did not follow the instructions of the Lord. He did not use Vajra. He used his club to kill Vritrasur. And we saw that what happened. This is what happened when we are too much attached. Then we lose faith. When we are too much dependent on because our strength is limited. Indra was dependent, and that situation, Indra forgot about the instructions of the Lord. He was dependent on his own strength, and our strength is limited. Our strength is limited, so we fail miserably. And Indra did that. He used the club, and he failed miserably. And when he failed miserably, he lost faith. He lost faith not only on himself, but also faith on Lord Vishnu. He did not follow the instructions of the Lord Vishnu, but he lost the faith on Lord Vishnu. So this is like Lord says, Mam ekam sharanam braja. Mam ekam sharanam. We don't have to have this pride in our own strength, our own material support system, our own, because they keep us away from the Lord. They keep us away from the Lord. They are a big obstacle in our surrender to the Lord. Like Draupadi. You see the case of Draupadi, she had Ananya Sharanagrati. See, later, his Ananya Sharanagati came later, but before that, she's Anya Sharanagrati, and said that's why Krishna did not appear to him before. Because she was trying, she was using her own strength, her own options, her own material support structure, material support system to help herself. And nothing worked. Then she came to the Lord, that is Ananya Sharanagati. So at sadhika, as an sadhak devotee, we also have that tendency when we are in the trying situations, when we are in the trying, difficult situations, in the midst of a problem, we immediately fall back on our own strength, our own support system, instead of increasing our dependence on the Lord more and more. Like this is increasing. So that is what happens. It never happens like if some problem comes, we sit and chant, okay, let me be more dependent on the Lord. Let me chant more rounds. Let me pray to the Lord and chant my more rounds so that the problem, Lord helps me to solve that problem. That happened to Arjuna. But ultimately what happens the Lord is not, we have to fight we have to stand and fight. Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, Atishto Tishta Arjuna, many places he says just stand up and fight. Lord is not going to fight for us. We have to stand ourselves and we have to fight ourselves. But Lord gave the strength to Arjuna. Arjuna was in the same situation, but Lord gave strength to Arjuna by knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. And then Arjuna stood himself, and he stood and he fought. So that's what happened. And this is, we have to fight ourselves. We have to make our own efforts, but Lord gives us the strength and knowledge to make the right choice, right decisions. Like, so this is here we see that how this and sometimes like this is we lose hope, like Indra has lost hope here. And something happened to Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, when the Gaur Kishore Das Babaji, his spiritual master, and his father Bhakti Vinod Thakur passed away, left their manifested pastimes, or then he was very much, he lost hope. He was very much, for 2 years, he was not doing anything. For 2 years. And then he was, there was circumstances, and he was inspired again and started preaching, but he lost hope. So losing hope for a sadhaka is natural. So this is, but we need to use that situation to become more dependent on the Lord. And so tasmat sarves kaleshu mam anusumar yuddhacha. Lord says in Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. So you have just remember me and fight. Remember me and fight. You have to fight your own battle, but just remember me. Be more dependent on me. These situations Lord is using for us. And that's the mercy of the Lord to bring us closer to him, bring us closer to himself. Here Indra had lost hope. So most of the time when we lose hope, we are in anxiety, we lose hope. We are the solution is right there. Indra had Vajra with him right there. But when we lose hope, I cannot do this, cannot happen. It won't happen We have those negative mindset. Our mind keeps on suggesting that the negative thing that is not, I'm not capable of doing this, or it's not going to happen, or this situation is not in my favor, so I will not be able to get it done. So mind is convincing that the situation is not going to change. It will remain like this forever. So this is losing hope. So our mind is also very negative in this. Just like in World War II, in the War II, when the Japan attacked America at the Pearl Harbor, in the Pearl Harbor Naval Base, and many soldiers they were thinking this war is not going to end. It's going to continue forever. We are not going to get back our home ever. So they had those, they started jumping in the sea and committing suicide. And many of them they died also. But that was, our mind keep on suggesting these negative things And after a few days, the war was stopped. But those devotees, those soldiers, they lost their lives because their mind suggested them this not going to stop, and this situation going to continue forever. So Indra is kind of in the same situation. He has lost hope. So this is, and he thought that nothing can be done now. But from this verse we see that how this Vritrasura is a very thorough gentleman. This is although demigods attack demons. We saw in the last chapter when they lost their Senapati, the demigod, they attack demons which is against the conduct of the war. But here Vritrasura, when the Indra, he did not attack Indra. Indra is standing before him. He's completely bewildered. His Aravat is hurt. Aravat fell down. He's hurt. Indra himself fell down, and he's completely, and his most powerful weapon he had, his club, it did not work. It was it is said that Vritrasura held it with his left hand and threw it back at him. So it's like holding it from the left hand, catching it from the left hand means that was Indra's most powerful weapon, was kind of very insignificant for Vritrashur, or in front of Vritrashur, against the powers of Vritrashur. So this is Vritrashur, the qualities of Vritrashur. So he still followed this conduct of the war. He chastising Indra in these verses. So, and Vritrashur is trying to correct Indra. He's chastising because he's concerned. He's not chastising, he's concerned because it is our Acharya's right that because he's par dukha dukhi. Indra, you are so foolish. Vritrashur, you are so foolish that you are so attached to your position, to your heavenly opulence, that which is so temporary. So he's out of concern for Indra chastising. So this is like Vritrashur. He's chastising Indra out of concern for Vritrashur, not because of taking revenge or out of enmity. He said this Indra is so foolish. He's so attached to his material possession because Vritrashur was a devotee. He knew what Indra is doing. He's going to suffer more and more for that. Vritrashur, and at the same time, why he changes his mood from verse 17 to 18? Up to verse 17, he was very strongly chastising Indra, telling them, you did this, you did that, you did wrongly, you had incurred this sin, you killed my brother, and he's saying all that. But from 18, he's saying that, Indra, you are a Kulishen Veera, you are a Veera, you are a hero, you are a hero. So because his plan is to go back to God, and his plan is to leave his body, his plan is to be killed by the hands of Indra. That is the desire of Lord Vishnu. That is his desire. He didn't want to make Indra too much depressed also. He was balanced in his chastisement. So in this verse, he started addressing Indra with a Veera, so that Indra is not too much depressed and stop fighting, And he stops fighting that how I'm going to leave my body, how I'm going to go back to Godhead, how I'm going to go to get the Manishunam Pad Raja Prapatasya, I'm going to get the dust of the lotus feet of my Guru Maharaj, Narad Muni. So this is what his plan is. So he's very calculative, he's his plan, he's very prepared. He has come to give up his body and go back to Godhead, attain the lotus feet of his pure devotees of the Lord, like Narad Muni. So this is very, very nice Vritrashur. The qualities of Vritrashur here, this is so all these devotees of the Lord and the Lord, they have many considerations, before they act or before they say anything. Here Indra was judging. Indra was in judgmental mood. He was judging Vritrashur from his externals. So this is, Indra. So now, when Indra hears this, that wow, he was so completely amazed. He was completely satisfied. He was wondering. Indra is wondering, this is like. He was hearing from Vritrashur. Vritrashur is talking about Manishunam Pada Raja Prapatsya. He says he's talking like a devotee. He's talking like he is utterly surprised by the devotion of Vritrashura. He's just starting from verse 18, but all the later verses Vritrashura has talking about, we'll see that how great devotee Vritrashur was. The Indra is utterly surprised by the devotion of Vritrashura. So this is sometimes we say that the devotee ask this question: why the Lord has kept Vritrashur's devotion hidden for so long in Bhagavatam? She says, Lord has Lord has planned for every devotee. He arranges for everyone. He arranges for everyone that devotional mood to come out at a certain time so the whole world can appreciate and glorify it. They appreciate it so that that devotee is more glorified. Like so, this is so it's not there was. And what I mean from that is like Lord has a plan for us. Lord will this. This is we have many devotees like no, they're very quiet devotees, not in the limelight. Nobody knows about them. They do their service nicely, and they've been doing that service for years and years and years. And the time comes when the Lord chooses that time, that trigger, like no, when the whole world appreciates the services and the glories. They glorify that devotee. There was a Mataji at Radha Gopinath temple. It was a very simple lady from Madhya Pradesh, and she was like her service. Her service was making garlands, and she was there from the day one. And her service was just making garlands every day, and she did that for years, like. And she lived like in the temple compound, and whenever there were festivals at Radha Gopinath temple, the devotees from other places will come. So she'll open her house, and in the Mumbai the houses are very small, but like she'll open her house, and her house will have the full of devotees, and all these she herself and her husband, her daughter, her son, they'll be lying in one corner of some baranda or some room or somewhere, but all the devotees will be sleeping in his house. So this is, and that is, she did that for, but when she did that for a year, for all her life. And finally she was diagnosed with terminal disease. See, and when she was diagnosed with terminal disease, the devotees glorified her for 5 hours at Radha Gopinath temple and temple hall full of devotees like now. So that is how Lord chose that trigger of the terminal disease. Lord chose that trigger to manifest the glory of that Mataji in front of the world. And when the day she left, the garland, Prahlad Narsimha Dev's garland came from, because her Easter, her deity was Lakshmi Narsimha. The Prahlad Narsimha garland came from Mayapur, and that was arranged for her, and that was arranged by the Lord. So Lord chooses the right time when the world can appreciate the devotees. Devotion, Lord waits for that trigger. So last point we'll talk here, and then we'll stop. I'll stop. That Indra was judging Vritrasura by his externals until he heard from Vritrasura. He was judging Vritrasura. Vritrasura was like in his externals, he was a ferocious demon, huge demon, the Rakshasa, the Asuras, like no. So that is what he was. So Indra was judging by his externals, and that is why most of the time we also do that mistake. We judge others by their externals. The right process is, right thing is not to judge anyone from their externals, but to hear from them. We hear, let them, when we hear from them, then we will know what is what. So there was this Braj Bihari Prabhu. So Braj Bihari Prabhu, he's like, he shares that story like now. So he was in Mumbai distributing books at the train station. So that's a Rajdhani train. The Rajdhani train is very high class train. All these compartments, they are air conditioned. This considered very high class train. So Mumbai to Delhi, it has only 5 or 6 stoppages. and he was distributing, he along with one more devotee, he was distributing books in the train. He entered this in the train, and there's one gentleman, he stood up and he said that I am Prabhupada's disciple. And this Braj Bihari Prabhu looked at him like, no, this is, he says, okay, whatever, like, no, this is, he did not believe him. He did not believe him. And everyone says he's a Prabhupada disciple. Like, so what, do you want Bhagavad Gita? Take this. And he just went ahead. The other devotee who was distributing book with Braj Bihari Prabhu, he was coming from the behind, and this man again told that the devotee that, yeah, I'm Prabhupada's disciple, and this other devotee, he was completely, he fell flat on the ground. He paid his obeisance and the Dandvat Pranam to that, and it's like, this is my great fortune that I have met you. And they were talking for some time. They exchanged the pleasantries, and then after that he came out. When he came out, he met Braj Bihari Prabhu, and Braj Bihari Prabhu said, where were you, like, no? So he said, I met that devotee that is Prabhupada's disciple, like, now I'm so fortunate. And Braj Bihari Prabhu said, like, hey, don't believe him, like, don't believe him, like, no, so this is he doesn't look like Prabhupada's disciple, so don't believe in, and they continued distributing books. So next day morning, Radhanath Maharaj called Braj Bihari Prabhu. Radhan Maharaj called Braj Bihari Prabhu. Braj Bihari Prabhu went to Radhanath Maharaj, and Maharaj asked him, like, no, did you meet a Prabhupada disciple in the train yesterday? And he remembered. He said, yes, Maharaj. Yeah, I met one gentleman. He said that he's a Prabhupada's disciple. He says, like, he was very much appreciating the way you behaved with him. He was appreciating, he was glorifying the Radhanath Gopinath temple and the devotees in this temple. And Radhanath Maharaj hugged very tightly Braj Bihari Prabhu. And Braj Bihari Prabhu was having tears in his eyes, like, he realized that he learned that lesson, that we should not judge anyone by his externals. So this is what, and we have these situations in our life also. Like, but we remember that, okay, we decide from tomorrow we are not going to judge anyone by externals. But after a couple of months, again, we have a situation when we judge someone by his externals. Like, no, that is how deep rooted this is in our heart. Like, it's the conditioning of many lifetimes. So this is there's another story from Shruti Dharma Prabhu. Shruti Dharma Prabhu in this Bhakti Vedanta manor in that our London temple. It was closed by the government for some time. It was closed by the government for some time, and the devotees, they used to go. Temple was closed. They used to go there, sit there, chant there, and come back. And there was one devotee who was very shabby in looking. He was externally, he was never dressed properly. He was never like making his hairs, or he was looked dirty and shabby. He also used to come and sit there and chant and go. But he looked very shabby in his appearance. And one day, that devotee, that shabby looking devotee, he asked the other devotee, why you guys are so, what were you discussing? Why you look so worried? Can I do something, like, no? And they were like kind of smiling, and they were like, what, this guy can help me, like, no? But they were judging him by the external, and their mind is telling him that, yeah, like, this seems good for nothing. How is he going to help us, like, no? But somehow one devotee told him that we are looking for, we are trying to meet Margaret Thatcher to get permission for our temple, so that we get an order for get our temple open. It's enclosed by the government. And this shabby looking devotee said, yeah, what's the big problem in that? I can arrange that. He said so easily, and devotees did not believe him. They did not believe him because they were judging him by the externals. And the Shruti Dharma Prabhu said, okay, let us try. And his one of his very close friends was a barrister, a very senior advocate in UK, and who was connected to Margaret Thatcher. And finally, this devotee, they got a meeting arranged with Margaret Thatcher like that time. So this is the lesson here is that we should not judge anyone by their externals like. So Indra, another point Indra had here, this is, what is the point in worshipping Krishna if he does not give the material opulence? That is Indra. Like Devata, they are Sakam Bhakta. They are not Nishkam Bhakta. They are not pure devotees. They are Mishra Bhakta. They are Sakam devotees. They have material desire. They worship the Lord for their material desires. So this is Indra's point is that worshipping Krishna, what is the point if he does not give a material opulence? But the point is, that is the point here. The point is that the real mercy is that he destroys his devotee's material support system so that the devotee becomes more dependent on the Lord. As long as we have this material support structure, as long as we are more dependent on our own strength, our own material support system, material structure, we will be less dependent on the Lord. And as says that brings in us, our material support system brings in us envy, pride, all this material opulence that gives us that ahankar, that pride, and then we forget the Lord. We become less dependent on the Lord. Janma Aishwarya Shruti Shri Eda Madho Mada Puman. That's Shruti Maharani says. So this is the idea is Lord's real mercy is that he destroys our material dependence on anything. He destroys our material support system, material structure, so that we become more dependent on him now. And that is, this leads, and when that happens, this leads to humility, the danya. And once we have that danya increases, it leads to the Krishna prema. And when we have Krishna prema, or when we progress in that Krishna towards Krishna prema, we become more humble, more danya. So this is, and when we are in that become that humble, then we feel the presence of Lord every moment, because that is, Lord is strongly attracted by our humility, not by he does not like our pride in us. Sikshastakam verses we see, they're increasing level of humility, like from verse 1 to the last verse. So all this, so Krishna uses the difficult situations to arouse humility in us now. Krishna wants to break our material support system to make us more dependent on him. So, and here we'll see that from verse 19, you will see that Vritrasur, how the Vritrasur was full of humility. He was full of humility, and we'll see that in the following verses starting from verse 19. Hare Krishna. I'll stop here. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time. Grantra Srimad Bhagvatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Aap sabhi bhakt jano ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you, devotees. If there are any questions or comments, or you would like to share your realizations, we can do at this time.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, my Danat Pranam to you. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you so much for your wonderful class, reading all the verses. And especially I like the story of the Mataji, the flower lady, who, simple lady, and what I learned from this is that even if she was making garlands for the Lord, that was not it. she was also opening her house for devotees to come and stay. So, serving devotees and serving Krishna both go hand in hand. And we should not think, okay, we're doing this for Krishna, that for Krishna. But when it comes to devotees, we are, thinking, no, Krishna is all in all. So I think she gave an example to all of us that, and that's why, there was one saying I heard that, when we pass away, there should be people actually crying and not be happy that we passed away. So she was a living example, because when we
Right.
come all crying and people are laughing. But
Right.
if we lead our life in such a way, then people are like, they will be happy in the sense that they should not be happy for us to pass away, but they should have the opposite reaction. So that way, because emotions come when we remember if someone has done something for us and we were not able to. And also the example of the Prabhupada disciple, how Radhanath Maharaj is, His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj is so humble that in these Maharajas, they teach the other person in such a way that the person will start feeling guilty only and start thinking, oh, like I was actually not doing this. But Maharaj is not like accusing him directly, but just saying that, of course, Prabhupada disciples, they all are unique. And so it was very nice. These two examples were really set to my mind today in the morning. And of course, the reading is going on. So don't have a specific question right now. So thank you
Thank you,
so much,
Mataji.
Prabhuji, for your association in class. We always look forward. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam, all Krishna Prabhupada. That's such a nice class
Haribol.
to remind
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
difference between the Sakam Bhakta, Mishra Bhakta, and the Suddha Bhakta. And Krishna is always attracted by the humility, and it is a complete surrender to Krishna that makes Krishna take charge of the devotee, that Sarvadharman Parityajya, or Tesha Antagatam Papam Jananam Punna Karmanam. So Krishna is again and again emphasizing, and of course that Triguna Vishaya Veda, you right nicely mentioned there. Yamimam Pushpitam Vajam Prohand Avipashita. This particular instance, though devatas are exalted position, they are Vishnu Bhaktas, but here we are coming to know that they are Sakam Bhaktas, so they have also frailties, they have also imperfections, which is very glaringly visible here by the sense gratificatory consciousness of Indra. So it is, he reminds us that those things take us away from Krishna, as Indra forgot to use Lord Vishnu's instruction to use thunderbolt. So pride and those other 6 anarthas, the other 5 anarthas, they take us away from Krishna. It's so nice to.
And in the next verses, even the Vritarashtra will remind Indra to use your Vajra to kill me. He says, like, come kill me, like, use your Vajra. So Vritarashtra had to remind Indra, like, to kill him. So that's nice. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you for your kind association in your nectarian words. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Prabhu. Very nice. All right, anyone else? Otherwise, we can end the class.
Yes, Prabhuji also mentioned about the mind. Mind always pulls us down and, makes us negative always, right?
Right. Mind is always.
So suppose you want to do some seva, the mind will say, you cannot do it. How can you do it? You're not capable. So mind be compared to Maya sometimes.
Like mind, intelligence, ego, they're all part of material energy, which is Maya. So
Yes.
this is Maya. So like kham mano buddhirevacha ahankaritiya me bhinna prakdirashthada. So that mind is also part of material energy. So yeah, mind is very much part of material energy. We have to spiritualize it. As long as we are remembering Krishna with our mind, then it is spiritualized, and Maya is negative tendencies are kept away.
Krishna gives that example. And Vayu now Imambasa.
Yeah, yeah.
Boat takes away the wind takes away the boat here and there. Uncontrolled mind also takes the senses here and there.
Right.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you so much for this wonderful class. And Prabhuji, you mentioned about the body, they will eat after death through the vultures like that. So back to the Mumbai when we were there, I see the Parsi community, they how we does the funeral, they give their body to vultures. So they have a specific place and they throw their body, put their body there. So is there any connection with the Bhagavatam, or do you know about that, Prabhuji? And also, thank you for mentioning Radhanath Swami's pastimes, but I was not attending. Sorry about that. So would you like to mention it again if you have time?
Yeah, this is sure. Think this in Vedic culture, like in Vedic culture, this is yeah, we burn it because that is considered ultimately that is any kind of all these dust. This is in our scriptures. This is used to tell us that how useless this body is, right? That is the destination. Ultimately, this body is going to go back to this Panch Mahabhutas, like whatever is the way, whether it's eaten by the vultures, whether it's eaten by, or it's burnt in the fire, or it's buried in underground. That is the destination for this body, which while we are alive, we are so proud of this body, and that is how we are going to, this body is going to be end like now. That's the end destination for this body. So the message here mainly is given that this will be that's the destination of the body. This body is useless like now. Just utilize this body, the value of this body, that with body is an a vehicle. This body we have to use this body to serve the Lord, because we need this body to serve the Lord. Otherwise, this body is completely useless. So if you're not serving the Lord, then this body is useless in any case. That is how this destination of this body is, right? Here, Vritrasura is mentioning in this pastime that his bhava is that even his body, even after his death, is going to be useful for these vultures. I will be happily give this body to those to satisfy the hunger of these vultures and animals and all. That is his bhava. That so that is what he said, like in that verse. Like the idea is like, this body is useless in any case. That tells his mind of Vritrasur that how he still has the welfare of other living entities in his mind, even after using his body after his death. So just to communicate that bhava of Vritrasur. That is how this verse Shukdev Goswami had mentioned that there. Does that make sense, Mataji? Hare Krishna?
Yes, Prabhuji, I was on mute. So, yeah, maybe the people of that community also, they might have followed Bhagavatam sometime before, and then they started this ritual like that, right?
Yeah, like yeah, I'm not aware of that communities and their what they do, but yeah, maybe. And your second question was Radhanand Maharaj's pastime. So the pastime, it was that Vraj Vihari Prabhu, he was distributing books in the train station, and he met a gentleman. He was not dressed up like a devotee. He was dressed up like any normal karmi person, right? So, and he said that he was a Prabhupada devotee, and Vraj Vihari Prabhu, he did not. He the I gave that example when we're talking about this point of judging someone based on his externals, right? So he judged
Yes.
that person based on his externals, and he did not believe him. He said, like, yeah, everyone says he's a. He did not say anything to that person, but in his mind, he did not. He was thinking, yeah, everyone says he's a Prabhupada's devotee. So what about it? Like, no. So he just gave him the book and came out of the train coach. The second devotee who was with Vraj Vihari Prabhu, he came a few seconds later. He was behind, and that's he talked to the same person, and that person told he's a Prabhupada's devotee. He immediately he became so happy. He paid his obeisance. He fell on the ground in the train. In the train, he fell on the ground and paid his sastang dandavat to that devotee. And that devotee was so happy, and they were talking about the temple and some other things. And then this devotee came out. So then next day, Prabhupada's disciple, he was a Prabhupada disciple. He called Radhanath Maharaj, and he narrated this that he met a devotee and he was so happy. That devotee was so nice, so humble, and I'm so happy. And he glorified the temple and the devotees. And Radhanath Maharaj, he called Vraj Vihari Prabhu to tell him that. And he was thanking Vraj Vihari Prabhu, thank you so much, because of Radhanath Maharaj was, he was not, there was two devotees, right? So the second devotee, he did all that. But he thanked Vraj Vihari Prabhu, said like, no, you guys behaved very well. So he was very appreciative of our temple and the devotees, and he was glorifying the temple and devotees. And he hugged him and he thanked him like, no, so Radhanath Maharaj. So that is what the incident. So the message, point was that we should not judge uh, anyone based on his externals.
Okay. Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for explaining again. Hare Krishna. Sorry, I was not attentive that time.
No problem.
Also,
All right,
Prabhuji, Prabhuji, like one minute, like like Mataji was mentioning what the Parsis, right? They this thing, but in USA they make this burial or whatever it's called. Where they keep the
Yeah.
body, and so much of land is like being used for that. Some of the prime locations, they have this where the dead body is underneath, and they occupy the land. And so I mean, is there anything you have to say in connection to that? Because they will continue, they preserve the body.
माताजी यूएस में इतनी लैंड है कि लैंड की कुछ कमी नहीं है यहाँ पे. So US has more land area than is such a huge country with such a small population.
Huge country, small population. Yeah.
If you go to Midwest, like miles and miles, hundreds of miles, there's no one there. Like, so it's
no, I was thinking that when Bhakti Chandra Maharaj left his body, so they took the body and they made like a samadhi. So they make a samadhi for all these, Mahatmas, these great disciples of Srila Prabhupada. But here, the people are doing the same thing for their own relatives, and they have this, it's completely so much in ignorance when we think from although we should not judge, but it is from the Shastric point of view. They want that space, and then they go and put flowers there, and they do all that. But that we are doing exclusively because we know that, our Guru Maharajas are not different from, like in the sense, they are on a totally different platform, and to preserve their body is very, very good, and to pay, obeisances to the place where they have kept the body. So, but here the concept is totally opposite. Why they keep the body, right?
It's it's kind of remembrance, like of those your near and dear one. They're like if you don't not and from devotional aspect, but for their near and dear ones, like at least they have some remembrance. They keep it like if you and they go once in a year or offer some flowers there and remember those like we have memorials, or we have this disappearance and appearance days, right? Disappearance day.
Yes.
So some kind of remembering that that person and what good things he did and how he changed the lives of others, and glorifying him like on his disappearance day or appearance day. Those kind of this like I I personally don't see anything wrong in that. They are like yeah. So for them, this is like Bhagavatam is not recommending that you do this versus that or do this versus that. Bhagavat is saying this comes in Ajamil's pastimes later. Like Bhagavat is saying that these are the three destinations of the body. That is what Bhagavatam is saying. The Bhagavatam is saying how useless this body is. Ultimately, it is going to go back into that Panch Mahabhutas. It's like that is the destination of the body. These are three destinations of this body. Either body, either it will be burnt or it will be buried, and it will be or eaten by the vultures. Like Bhagavatam is not saying that burning is better than burying, or Bhagavatam is not talking about that. So to me, like I don't see any if people are their near and dear ones, if they want to keep their memories and they want to, so that's okay. That should be fine.
With your kind permission, Prabhu Krishna, I just wanted to add something. Like in the Christian faith, I think there is this concept of judgment day, right? So they let their dead ones rest in peace. That's why they say rest in peace. But in Sanatana Dharma, that rest in peace doesn't apply. So they say rest in peace till the judgment day when Jesus will come back and they will resurrect the body.
Okay.
So
good point. Yeah.
So that is why they do. But in terms of the departed soul, unless the body is cremated, that's why in Sanatana Dharma the body is cremated within 24 hours, so that the attachment of the soul to the body is reduced. When the body is burned, immediately the soul feels detached. The body is gone. My longing for this material world was through the body, but that is gone. Then the soul becomes free to go back to its higher destination. But as long as the body is there, even if it is buried, that attachment is there, that the soul doesn't want to leave, the soul in the subtle body doesn't want to leave this material world. So that is why in the Western world there is more prevalence of this pisach, bhoot pisach, spirit prevalence. That's why they have this Halloween, because this in the Sanatana Dharma there's a bhoot pisach influence is less, because mostly bodies are cremated and the soul by default would be detached because the attachment is gone. But here we have so many haunted houses, so many this and that, because these souls are still attached and still hovering around and unable to leave this material this earth plane. So
it's like but Partha Prabhu, I don't know in your area, but if I remember correctly, in the north also, in our place, I'm from Kanpur, the UP, the small children, they are still buried, right? Or they're not, their body is not burned. This is what I remember from very, very long back. Like
maybe that is correct. That also maybe that is their attachment has not yet grown. So maybe but I don't know the strict reason.
Yeah, you're right. Like our the Garud Puran talks about that, how the 13 days the soul is or not the soul, your sukshma sarir, the subtle body is still there around your gross body once the person leaves the body. For those 13 days that the subtle body is still around and its onward journey does not start. So sooner we destroy that body or burn that body, that his onward journey starts, right? So that is even if you different, like in Islam and in Christianity, they bury the body. So they may have their own different philosophy behind it. I don't know about that. But as you said rightly that, yeah, they wait for the Jesus, the judgment day and all that. So maybe that's but even when you bury the body, after certain time, that body is finished. Only the I think only the bones are left. Everything has gone, right?
Yeah.
Because this is they starts decomposing. The body, the moment the soul leaves, it start decomposing.
Yeah.
And once you bury in the ground, like within few days, it decomposes. Like it takes probably the couple of weeks, and like it decomposes.
Yeah, but if that the soul in the subtle body hangs around for more than 13 days, the gates are closed. So
But if it is like, if it is buried under the ground, that is like, I don't know, maybe that is also subtle body's attachment has gone. Like subtle body, the body is buried and finished, right?
But Prabhuji, one more thing. But when the person is in coma, then the soul is still there inside, or it's hanging around?
Soul is still there. Soul is still inside. The hanging around thing is like we talk about those
who are dead,
out of body experience, right? There are some cases of out of body experience when the person was on the operation table and he could see himself being operated on the operating table. But somehow this is the sukshma, the subtle body came out and he could see the gross body. But that is not common phenomena. That's like there are some cases reported like that.
Prabhuji, one more thing, like, the question came back to me. Like I told you that sometimes the mind is an enemy, does not let us do some things like seva and all. Like, I compare it to Maya, it becomes an enemy. Not Maya, because Maya Devi is doing her job, but we all know that she doesn't want non-serious people around Krishna. But the point is, then what is the role of the mind in senses and intelligent? And then there's Atma Paramatma. So does just like the mind, the senses and intelligence, is the mind controlling the senses and intelligence, and it does not let us do, or even the senses and intelligence function independently?
You see the hierarchy, like Nietzsche se upar, right? The senses, then mind, then intelligence, then your soul, right? So this is and this is senses are grosser. The mind is subtler than the senses. Intelligence is subtler than the mind, and your soul is the subtlest of all, right? So this is intelligence is supposed to control the mind. Intelligence is supposed to direct the mind, and mind is supposed to direct the senses. So this is this is how it should happen. That's the correct functioning, right? But what happens, like when the senses start controlling the mind, then mind starts ignoring the intelligence because he's after the enjoyment. Then the process is not functioning it right. No, it's not that mind is controlling the senses. Senses started controlling the mind. So that is when the person is too much into the sense gratification, right? So all these addicts, like alcoholics or smokers or addicts of anything, that is what happens. Like their senses requirement and senses are controlling the mind.
And like you said, yeah, very nice. Senses control the mind, and then things. But does the intelligence also gets corrupted and controls the mind?
And intelligence should be controlling the mind. Intelligence is the faculty who tells us what is right or wrong, what is correct, what is not correct, what we should be doing, what we should not be doing.
Doing. So basically,
माइंड का काम क्या है कि किसमें क्या अच्छा लगता है, क्या अच्छा नहीं लगता.
Yes. So mind and senses are something which you really have to control. And once they come under control, then the intelligence obviously is going to guide the mind in a good way.
Yeah, you have to use your intelligence to control your mind, and then mind will control your senses. Right?
Okay.
तो
Yeah.
अगर आपको डायबिटीज है और आपको मालूम है कि शुगर आपको नुकसान करती है, आपकी इंटेलिजेंस विल टेल यू दैट यू शुड नॉट ईट शुगर. लेकिन माइंड कहेगा यार रसगुल्ला तो मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता है, लाइक एक रसगुल्ला खाने से क्या प्रॉब्लम है, एक खा लेता हूँ. राइट? सो माइंड इज सजेस्टिंग यू द अदर वे. But if you listen to your intelligence and not eat that rasgulla because you are diabetic, that is how it should happen. Then you'll be that's the right way to do it. Then you'll be more healthier. But if you don't listen to your intelligence, you are listen to your mind, and you keep on eating rasgulla, your sugar will go up and you'll not be healthier, right? That's the idea.
Yes, Prabhuji. Sorry, like very basic thing I'm asking, but then you answered so nicely. And that's why we need association of devotees. So these very simple, basic questions, they come up even after being on the call here for so many years. And they need clarifications. Every day the mind gets like dull. And we have to, just like one, there was a saying by Radhanath Maharaj, which I recently shared on the Facebook. It says that we should think that this is the first day of our bhakti. Like we should not think that I'm not able to get it right now, but we have to. Sorry, it's going on Facebook, and but that you should think the first day of bhakti and how seriously you would do it, not that just like so. Everything has to be kind of cleared up. Reference to that. Yeah. So mind intelligence has to be always, taking care that this mind doesn't go here and there. And so that's very, very important. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for answering the questions. And, we are fortunate to have your association. Sorry
Thank
to
you,
take
Mataji.
Sorry to take extra time. I felt as if you had to go. Everybody has work today. It's although the weekday week coming, but still we have to. Yeah. So we.
Sure, I have to go to. It's 9 o'clock now. Yeah.
Pancha kalpatrubhisha kripa sindhu evacha
देवचा पतितराम पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. वैष्णव ठाकुर की जय. हरे कृष्णा.
Vijay Prabhu Jai. And thank you to all today. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranam.
Dandavat pranam, Mataji. Hare Krishna.